Hey guys and gals, this is Nathan, and today we're going to be working on Halloween illustrations, so let's get started. Alright, step one is the cleanup process. After I scanned in my image, I usually scan in a little bit bigger than the final print is going to be. So this is, I think I scanned it in at 400 dpi, and the usual print is going to be at 300. And that'll just, like, when I shrink it down a little bit, it'll just kind of tighten up the lines a little. So here I'm just kind of going around the edges, doing a little bit of cleanup and whatever ink smears that I might have had, from when the ink wasn't completely dry. Try to stay pretty true to the lines. So I mean, you'll see like some cleanup here and there where I wasn't happy where the lines overlapped as much on the insides of the border, but for the most part I try not to mess with it too much. Kind of leave that little bit of spontaneity in it. Adds a little bit more interest, I think, than if I went in and cleaned up every single thing the way I would want to. For this next part here, I'm opening up, I have a template for when I'm sizing up to do my prints and stuff. This is just like an 8x10, but I think I was going to do these a little bit bigger, like 8.5 by 11. So I resized the image, and I have like a template on there that shows me what size like I want the image to be. So I just kind of fix it to that. Transform it so that it fits those dimensions. And now we're on to step 2, the flats. First thing you'll see me do here is, I go to make a selection, and I notice I have a feather of 1 on my lasso, so I take that off and redo it. But what I'm doing here is I'm setting up that border on a layer on top of everything else. That way there it makes it easier, like if I have to go in and clean the line art, or I'm going to color the line art, I don't have to worry about that border anymore. It's just going to sit on top of everything. So if I'm coloring it, I can just go ahead and color all the way up to the edge or past the edge, and not have to worry about, I have to make this clean selection here. Like, I'm just go ahead and getting that done ahead of time. It's just something I found that saves me time. I don't have to worry about it anymore if I just get it out of the way at the beginning. And you might see, like, for this, I mean, every illustration is different and every piece you color is going to be different, I'm sure you know. But for this one, the flats took the longest amount of work. And partially, I mean, depending on the piece, like most of the time, like as I'm laying down my flats, I'll go ahead and pick the colors that I have in my head. So a lot of that choosing colors is done when I do my flats. It's a big reason why I enjoy doing the flats myself instead of sending them out to somebody else. I can get that thought process out of the way early on. This little trick right here, I'm just using because I know that outside border is solid, I'm just having my lasso set on contiguous, and I'm clicking on that outside part, and then I'm expanding the selection by, I don't know what it was, like 2 or 3 pixels. That way there it's it's partially in that border. Then I can inverse the selection, then the whole interior part is automatically selected, instead of having to go ahead and little by little, like, select every part, select the border and then fill it in. It's a little trick. It speeds things up. It doesn't work all the time, but on most cases it should. Then when I'm doing my flats, I like to break everything down into big chunks. So each of these characters I'm gonna do as one chunk, and they're each gonna be a separate color. It's gonna stand out from each other. And then when I get those big chunks taken care of, then I'll start breaking those down, starting with the smallest bits. So I'll start like with the eyes and stuff, and then go from there. That was like one of the challenging parts when I was doing the flats on the kids, was figuring out, okay, which colors are going to be where, especially with the little girl in the clown costume. It wasn't something I was necessarily thinking about, when I was drawing it. I wasn't thinking about, like, okay, which of these stripes is going to be which color. I was just like, okay, I want this many stripes. So it's kind of a little difficult to try and figure out. Alright, step 3, the finishing touches. So here, like, I had the kids as a selection that I saved in its own layer, because I knew I didn't want them to have the same darkness as the background. So I just had like a couple overlay layers, one like there's a light in that doorway that you can't see, and then I believe this is like on a multiply layer, just adding shadows. And I'm loading up the selection for the kids and lightening up their upper area. So I didn't want them to be completely in darkness, of course. And there wasn't really much to the finishing touches on this. I knew the style I wanted was kind of basically a flat color. You know, there's no gradients like inside each selection or each color or anything like that. You know, just a single light source, you know, one gradient providing the light, and then like one for the shadows. Pretty much everything else is just a little bit of experimentation. You know, trying out different textures and playing with curves. With the curves above the line art, it was also affecting the line art. And if you look at old like Polaroids or old photos like from the 70s, 60s or 70s, you get like what they call a light leak coming in into the sides of the film. And it's a little bit, you know, what I was going for, you know, giving this like a more vintagey type of feel. You know, not only with the colors, but then with the textures I go adding in. So I have an idea in my head, like what I want the final product to look like. But how I'm gonna get there, like I don't know. I could have a vague idea, you know. So it's all about trial and error. You know, for me, like trying something and failing is the best way to learn. You know, if you're not putting yourself out there, then, or trying something different and seeing if it works, or if it doesn't work, you know, at least you tried. You know, and if you do fail, you can always look back and like, okay, what could I have done better? What did I do? What I do wrong? You know, what if I tried it this way instead? You know, it's that self-analysis, I think, goes a long way. So here, this is my Adobe Bridge. I have it set up on a folder on my desktop where I just have like tons of different textures saved. So this is an old paper texture. I think it was from some free stock from maybe like an old CD from somewhere. I can't remember where I got it from, but you know, I'll take those images and I'll just save them. And you know, you never know where you're gonna use them. Or, you know, come across like an old book at a thrift store and, you know, take a picture of some old paper from there or something, you know. So here's like a light leaked image. So I'm trying to figure out, like, does this work in this piece? You know, I thought it was too bright in one corner and not bright enough in another. So I go in there and I believe I add some more green to it. Oh, if you see me like take the image and it disappears off the screen, I'm actually putting it on my other monitor. Because one thing I noticed, like my Cintiq is a little dark compared to my other monitor, and I think the other monitor is properly calibrated. I just have a hard time getting my old Cintiq calibrated correctly, so I just have to drag it over and check to make sure that it's light enough, because I don't want it to print too dark. And it's not like a huge difference, but there's some times where I'll forget to check, and then, you know, I'll take something to go get printed, and then it's like just way too dark, and I have to come home and like readjust it, and it's a pain. So I just try and remember to do that. But I think there's maybe one more texture I throw on top of here, but yeah, I think it's pretty much done. So just little touches here and there. You can see me finicking with the color balance right now. I think I'm trying to get it like a little bit warmer. So yeah, this is like where I'm going for the. There's like a bunch of grunge textures. Again, I think it was like from a CD pack. I can't remember where it was from, but they just had like a bunch of free textures that you can grab. So I love, if I can throw those in, that'd be great. Here, like I'm trying to find like a right amount, and I end up dropping it pretty low. I think like 10% or maybe even 5%. So it's there, but it's just hardly noticeable. And I think I threw it on overlay. I'm not 100% sure at this point. So yeah, checking it on the other monitor again. I close out these other windows. And I think this is the final right here. Just checking everything. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the little highlight on the nose. But yeah, that's gonna finish it up. So thanks a lot for watching. If you like these types of videos, let me know, and I'll do some more. Lately it's been pretty busy, and pretty much the only stuff I get to record is my stuff right now. So if you like it, let me know. All right, bye.